Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! The backstage area of the fashion show venue pulsed with nervous energy. Racks of clothing lined the walls, each hanger adorned with a meticulously crafted garment awaiting its moment in the spotlight. Makeup artists and hairstylists flitted about, their tools clinking and spraying as they put the finishing touches on models. Amidst the chaos stood Lily, her dark hair tied back in a messy bun, wisps escaping to frame her face. Her eyes darted from one corner of the room to another, checking and double-checking every detail. This was her moment, her big break into the cutthroat world of high fashion. "Ethan, can you grab that garment bag over there?" Lily called out, gesturing towards a black bag hanging on a nearby rack. Ethan, tall and lanky with a mop of unruly brown hair, navigated through the crowd of models and assistants. He'd only come to offer moral support to his friend, but found himself roped into helping with last-minute preparations. This one. He held up the bag in question. "Yes, perfect. Bring it over here." Lily unzipped the bag, revealing a sleek charcoal gray suit with subtle pinstripes. The cut was unconventional, with a slightly nipped-in waist and wider lapels than typical men's suiting. "What do you think?" Lily beamed with pride as she held it up for Ethan to inspect. Ethan tilted his head, studying the garment. "It's different. In a good way, I mean. But isn't this supposed to be a men's collection?" Lily's eyes sparkled with mischief. "That's the twist. It's designed for women, but with traditionally masculine elements. I'm blurring the lines, challenging expectations." "Bold move. I like it." As they admired the suit, a frantic assistant rushed up to Lily, her face pale with worry. "Miss Chen, we have a problem. Alexis, the model for the suit. She's stuck in traffic. There's no way she'll make it in time for the show." The color drained from Lily's face. "What? No, this can't be happening. That suit is the centerpiece of the collection!" Lily's mind raced, considering and discarding options at lightning speed. Her gaze landed on Ethan, who was absent-mindedly straightening the lapels of the suit. A light bulb went off in her head. "Ethan," she said slowly, a hint of desperation creeping into her voice. "How do you feel about trying something unconventional?" Ethan's eyebrows shot up. "What are you talking about?" Lily took a deep breath. "I need you to wear the suit on the runway." "You're joking, right?" Ethan laughed nervously, but Lily's expression remained deadly serious. "I'm not. Look, the suit was designed to challenge gender norms, right? What better way to drive that point home than having a man wear it?" Ethan's eyes widened in disbelief. "Lily, I'm not a model. I've never walked a runway in my life. But you're tall, you're fit, and most importantly, you're here," Lily pleaded. "Please, Ethan, this show could make or break my career. I need you." Ethan ran a hand through his hair, conflicted. He glanced around at the controlled chaos of the backstage area, then back at Lily's desperate face. I don't know, Lily. This is crazy. I know it's a lot to ask, but think about it. You'd be part of something groundbreaking. We'd be making a statement about gender fluidity in fashion." Ethan hesitated, torn between his desire to help his friend and his fear of embarrassment. "What about the shoes and the makeup?" he asked weakly. Lily's face lit up, sensing his resolve weakening. "We'll make it work. The makeup team can do wonders, and I'm sure we can find shoes that fit you." Ethan took a deep breath, hardly believing what he was about to say. "All right, I'll do it." Lily squealed with delight, throwing her arms around him. "Thank you, thank you, thank you! You're saving my life, Ethan!" Before he could change his mind, Lily whisked him away to a makeshift changing area. She thrust the garment bag into his hands and drew the curtain closed. Put it on. I'll be right back with shoes and the makeup team. Left alone, Ethan stared at the suit, his heart pounding. What had he gotten himself into? With shaky hands, he began to undress, carefully removing the suit from its hanger. The fabric felt luxurious against his skin as he slipped on the trousers. They were snug in places he wasn't used to, accentuating curves he didn't know he had. The jacket followed, its tailoring creating the illusion of a more feminine silhouette.
"How's it going in there?"
Lily's voice called from outside. I think I've got it on," Ethan replied, his voice uncertain. Lily poked her head around the curtain, her eyes widening as she took in the sight of Ethan in the suit. "Oh my God," she breathed. "It's perfect! You look amazing!" Ethan turned to face the full-length mirror, barely recognizing himself. The suit transformed his lanky frame, giving him an air of androgynous elegance he'd never imagined possible. "I can't believe it," he murmured, running his hands down the lapels. Lily grinned, practically bouncing with excitement. "See? I told you it would work. Now, let's get you into hair and makeup." She led him to a chair in front of a brightly lit vanity. A team of makeup artists descended upon him, their brushes and sponges a flurry of activity. "Just relax," one of them soothed, noticing Ethan's wide-eyed expression. "We'll keep it subtle. Enhance your natural features." As they worked, Lily knelt beside Ethan, holding up a pair of sleek black heels. "These should fit. They're a size larger than what Alexis would have worn, but they're the best we could find on short notice." Ethan eyed the shoes warily. "Lily, I've never walked in heels before. I'm going to fall flat on my face out there." Lily squeezed his hand reassuringly. "You've got this. We'll practice before you go on. Just remember to walk heel to toe and keep your head high." The next hour passed in a blur of hairspray, powder, and frantic instructions. Ethan found himself standing at the edge of the runway, hidden behind a thick velvet curtain. The muffled sounds of music and chatter from the audience sent his heart racing. Lily appeared at his side, making last-minute adjustments to his outfit. "Remember, confidence is key. You look incredible, Ethan. Just own it out there." A stagehand with a headset approached them. 2 minutes to showtime, Miss Chen." Lily nodded, then turned back to Ethan. "You're going to be the finale. When the last model comes back, count to 5, then make your entrance. Walk to the end, pause for 3 beats, then turn and walk back. Got it?" Ethan nodded, not trusting himself to speak. His mouth felt dry, his palms sweaty. The music changed, signaling the start of the show. One by one, models strode past them onto the runway, each garment a testament to Lily's vision and skill. As the last model made her way back, Ethan's heart threatened to beat out of his chest. Lily gave his hand one final squeeze. "Show them what fashion is all about," she whispered. Ethan closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and began to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He stepped out from behind the curtain, the bright lights momentarily blinding him. The click of his heels against the runway seemed deafening in his ears. Left foot, right foot, heel to toe, head high. As his eyes adjusted to the light, he became aware of the audience. Hundreds of faces stared up at him, expressions ranging from surprise to admiration to confusion. In that moment, something shifted within Ethan. The nerves melted away, replaced by a surge of confidence. He was part of something bigger than himself, challenging perceptions and pushing boundaries. He reached the end of the runway, pausing as Lily had instructed. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment from every angle. Ethan struck a pose, one hand on his hip, chin tilted slightly upward. 1, 2, 3. He turned, the suit moving with him like a second skin. As he made his way back down the runway, he caught sight of Lily in his peripheral vision. She was beaming, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. Ethan disappeared behind the curtain, the sound of applause following him. As soon as he was out of sight, he was engulfed in a fierce hug from Lily. "You did it!" she exclaimed. "You were absolutely incredible out there!" Ethan laughed, the adrenaline still coursing through his veins. "I can't believe I just did that." "Believe it," Lily grinned. "You might have just launched 2 careers tonight." As the reality of what he'd just accomplished sank in, Ethan felt a mix of emotions wash over him. Pride, excitement, and a newfound appreciation for the power of fashion to challenge and inspire. "So," he said, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Does this mean I get to keep the suit?" Lily laughed, linking her arm through his. "We'll see. First, let's go face the press. I have a feeling they're going to have a lot of questions for both of us." Together, they made their way towards the backstage exit, ready to face whatever came next. As they walked, Ethan realized that in helping Lily achieve her dreams, he might have stumbled upon a new path of his own. The buzz of excitement continued to build as Lily and Ethan approached the press area. Reporters and photographers jostled for position, their cameras flashing in rapid succession. Lily squeezed Ethan's arm reassuringly as they stepped in front of the backdrop adorned with sponsor logos. "Miss Chen, over here!" a voice called out from the crowd. "Can you tell us about the inspiration behind your finale piece?" Lily stepped forward, her posture confident despite the nerves Ethan could sense beneath the surface. The suit represents a fusion of traditionally masculine and feminine elements. I wanted to challenge the notion that clothing must adhere to strict gender norms. Another reporter chimed in. "And your model? He's not one of the professionals we were expecting to see tonight." Lily glanced at Ethan, a small smile playing on her lips. Sometimes the most powerful statements are made by unexpected messengers. Ethan here embodies the spirit of the collection breaking boundaries and defying expectations. Ethan felt a surge of warmth at Lily's words. He'd been so focused on not tripping in the heels that he hadn't fully processed the significance of what they'd done. A fashion blogger with vibrant blue hair pushed her way to the front. "Ethan, how did it feel to walk the runway in a piece designed for women?" All eyes turned to him, and for a moment, Ethan froze. But then he remembered the confidence he'd felt on the catwalk and straightened his shoulders. "Honestly, it felt liberating," he said, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice. "The suit is beautifully crafted, and wearing it made me realize how arbitrary our ideas of gendered clothing really are. It's just fabric and stitching. It's our perceptions that give it meaning." The crowd murmured appreciatively, and Ethan caught a glimpse of Lily beaming with pride beside him. "Miss Chen!" another journalist called out. "Some critics might say this is just a publicity stunt. How would you respond to that?" Lily's expression turned serious. "Fashion has always been about pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo. If we've made people think about gender norms and self-expression, then we've done our job. This isn't about shock value. It's about opening up a dialogue." As the questions continued, Ethan found himself growing more comfortable in the spotlight. He and Lily played off each other, their responses complementing and building upon one another's. Finally, a representative from the event organizers stepped in, announcing that the designers needed to return for the final bow. Lily and Ethan made their way back towards the runway, the click of their heels in perfect sync. "You were amazing out there," Lily whispered as they waited behind the curtain. "I couldn't have asked for a better partner in crime." Ethan grinned, the rush of adrenaline still coursing through his veins. "I have to admit, this is way more exciting than I expected when I agreed to help you with fittings." The music swelled, signaling their cue. Hand in hand, they stepped out onto the runway, greeted by thunderous applause. As they reached the end of the catwalk, Lily raised their joined hands in triumph. In that moment, surrounded by flashing cameras and the roar of the crowd, Ethan felt invincible. He'd stepped so far out of his comfort zone that he could barely see it anymore, and yet he'd never felt more alive. As they made their way backstage once more, they were immediately surrounded by models, designers, and crew members offering congratulations and praise. "That was incredible! You two make such a great team! I've never seen anything like it!" The excitement was palpable, and Ethan found himself caught up in the whirlwind of post-show celebrations. Someone pressed a glass of champagne into his hand, and before he knew it, he was toasting to Lily's success with a group of industry insiders. Amidst the chaos, Ethan caught sight of himself in a mirror. His makeup was still flawless, his hair artfully tousled. The suit hugged his frame in a way that made him look and feel powerful. For the first time, he truly understood the transformative power of fashion. As the night wore on, Ethan and Lily found themselves at the center of countless conversations. Buyers expressed interest in the collection, fashion editors praised the innovative approach, and fellow designers offered their congratulations. It was well past midnight when they finally managed to slip away from the venue. The cool night air was a welcome relief after the heat and excitement of the show. "I can't believe we pulled it off," Lily said, leaning against Ethan as they waited for a taxi. "You were incredible out there, Ethan. I don't know how to thank you." Ethan wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "You don't need to thank me. This was, well, it was life-changing, to be honest. I never imagined I could do something like that." Lily looked up at him, her eyes sparkling with a mix of exhaustion and elation. "So, does this mean you're ready to give up your day job and become my full-time muse?" They both laughed, the tension of the evening finally breaking. As a taxi pulled up to the curb, Ethan found himself reluctant for the night to end. "You know," he said as they climbed into the back seat, "I think I might need to rethink my wardrobe after this. Maybe add a few more boundary-pushing pieces." Lily grinned, resting her head on his shoulder. "I think that can be arranged. After all, every great designer needs a muse." As the taxi wound its way through the city streets, Ethan gazed out at the twinkling lights. He'd come to the show as a supportive friend, never imagining he'd end up challenging societal norms and possibly launching a new career in the process. Whatever came next, he knew one thing for certain. Life would never be the same after tonight. And as he glanced down at Lily, already half asleep against his shoulder, he realized he wouldn't have it any other way. The taxi pulled up to Lily's apartment building, the sudden stop jolting her awake. She blinked sleepily, taking a moment to remember where she was. "Home sweet home," Ethan said softly, helping her out of the car. They stood on the sidewalk for a moment, neither quite ready to say goodnight. The events of the evening hung between them, a shared secret that had changed everything. "Do you want to come up for a nightcap?" Lily asked, stifling a yawn. "I feel like I need to decompress before I can even think about sleeping." Ethan nodded, feeling the same mix of exhaustion and lingering adrenaline. "That sounds perfect." They made their way up to Lily's fifth-floor walk-up, the climb a bit more challenging than usual in their formal wear. Lily fumbled with her keys, finally managing to unlock the door and usher Ethan inside. Her apartment was a perfect reflection of her creative spirit. Sketches and fabric swatches covered every available surface, and a dress form draped with half-finished designs stood in the corner of the living room. Lily kicked off her heels with a sigh of relief. "Make yourself comfortable. I'll grab us some wine." Ethan sank onto the worn leather couch, carefully removing his own shoes. He flexed his feet, wincing slightly. I have a whole new respect for anyone who wears heels on a regular basis, he called out to Lily in the kitchen. She returned with 2 glasses of red wine, handing one to Ethan before curling up on the other end of the couch. You did amazingly well for a first-timer. I've seen professional models struggle more than you did. Ethan took a sip of wine, letting the rich flavor roll over his tongue. I still can't quite believe it happened. It feels like a dream. A good dream, I hope, Lily said, studying his face. The best, Ethan assured her. Terrifying, exhilarating, but definitely good. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, sipping their wine and letting the events of the night settle over them. You know, Lily said eventually, when I first started designing this collection, I was so focused on making a statement about gender and fashion. But tonight, watching you out there, it became about so much more than that. Ethan tilted his head, curious. What do you mean? Lily set her glass down, tucking her feet under her as she turned to face him fully. It was about courage, about stepping outside of what's comfortable and familiar, and finding a part of yourself you never knew existed. Her words resonated deeply with Ethan. He thought about how he'd felt on the runway, scared at first, but then powerful, confident in a way he'd never experienced before. I think you're right, he said slowly. It's like the suit was a catalyst, but the real transformation happened inside. Lily nodded enthusiastically. Exactly! That's what I want my designs to do. Not just make people look good, but make them feel good, feel powerful, feel like the best version of themselves. As she spoke, her eyes lit up with passion, and Ethan found himself captivated. He'd always known Lily was talented, but seeing her in her element tonight had given him a new appreciation for her vision and drive. You're going to change the fashion world, Lily, he said softly. I really believe that. She blushed slightly, ducking her head. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. My accidental muse. The term sent a little thrill through Ethan. About that. Were you serious earlier? About me being your muse? Lily looked up, surprise and hope mingling in her expression. Yes, actually. I know you have your own career, but if you're interested, I'd love to work with you more. Your perspective, the way you carried yourself tonight, it was inspiring. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling like he was standing on the edge of something monumental. I think I'd like that. A lot, actually. Tonight made me realize how much I've been playing it safe in my life. Maybe it's time for a change. Lily's face broke into a radiant smile. She reached out, taking his hand in hers. To new beginnings, then? Ethan squeezed her hand, feeling a surge of excitement for the future. To new beginnings. They clinked glasses, sealing their new partnership. As they continued to talk late into the night, bouncing ideas off each other and dreaming up future projects, Ethan felt a sense of rightness settle over him. He'd walked into that fashion show as Lily's supportive friend, expecting nothing more than to offer moral support. He was leaving as her muse, her partner in pushing boundaries and challenging norms. It was unexpected, terrifying, and absolutely thrilling. As the first light of dawn began to creep through Lily's windows, they finally said their goodnights. Ethan made his way home, the events of the night replaying in his mind. He knew that when he woke up later, the world would look different, full of possibilities he'd never considered before. He hung the suit carefully in his closet, running his hand over the fabric one last time before closing the door. It wasn't just a piece of clothing anymore. It was a symbol of transformation, of stepping into the unknown and finding strength he never knew he had. As he drifted off to sleep, Ethan's dreams were filled with runways and flashing lights, the echo of applause, and the feeling of endless potential stretching out before him. Whatever came next, He knew he was ready to face it, head on, with Lily by his side and a newfound confidence in his heart.
Thanks for watching my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!